What's up, mobile gamers? It's Johns or Gigs, back with another tier list. It's trying to sneak it in, right, before Super Season 3 comes out. I don't know if we're going to be able to get the damage one done. Probably literally the day before is when the damage one's going to drop, and then it's literally going to change almost immediately because we have two more heroes in the damage category, and we're going to get a lot of buffs and nerfs and stuff like that, I think, especially this season. So we're going to start right now on our flanker tier list, and this is probably the one that's the most controversial, especially since I put Kazuma in B tier last time, right? A lot of people were like, oh, that's crazy. Why is he in B tier? And the reason was because he actually got a buff to his damage, or not his damage, I apologize. He actually got a buff to the number of uh, stuff that he has for his rockets, right? He has more ammo. And also, because everything became more accessible for choosing heroes to upgrade, you are going to be able to get his passive a lot easier, which means that you can essentially never have to reload. As long as you hit every other shot or something like that, you don't almost ever have to reload. So he also got his second ability, which lets him stay in the air more, and his first ability changed with his ultimate to be really good. So that's why he was in B tier, especially because a lot of people did not look up. But what I have noticed right now is that when you're grinding out these hero trophies, the best way to do so is with bots, right? And bots basically shoot Kazuma out of the sky. They have like insane accuracy, and he's not useful against bots because unless you're literally hiding behind like a wall or something, they'll just shoot you out of the air because they have perfect accuracy. So he's not good with bots. So even if you did quick mode, right, which can give enemy teams a bot or two, that means you're going to be at a disadvantage, and then he's not very good in higher ranks because people are ready to look up for him. So he's going to go in C tier. I'm going to drop him down because he's just not as good as he used to be. And with the recent buffs from this season, he's good. And then you look at the mid-season patch notes, and it wasn't very nice to him as far as like the game modes and stuff like that. And then obviously you've got coming into this next season, he's going to be even worse. And with that being said, instead of like putting him kind of at the bottom of B tier, top of C tier, and then changing it in Super Season 3, we're just going to put him in C tier right now because I think a lot more people are going to be looking up, especially with Damon coming to the game. So he's not going to be able to get away with it as much as he used to be. Usually, maybe a month or two ago, you would never look up because only one hero can really go into the air. And once they have given everybody all these new ultimates and new second abilities, you have a lot more heroes in the air like Christina and Osas. All these heroes that can go into the air that used to not really be able to do that. So I think you're finding a lot more people are looking upward. They are realizing, okay, sometimes these other heroes are going to take to the sky, and we need to be aware of that. And I think that's kind of hurt Kazuma. He needs to have better mobility in the air, especially because he can't really stay up there that long. They need to make him faster in the air, faster strafe speed by at least 50%, and they need to give him either an extended flight time for his hover or give him two charges. So right now I don't know, you can kind of hover with him a little bit, but the flight ability that allows you to fly forward or to the side, that actually goes on cooldown if you use your hover. So while it's nice to be able to chain them together, it's only good one time, and then you have to wait for both abilities to cool down. So it's not really useful. He has a lot of shortcomings, and so we're just gonna have to let him go down. Even though I have so much fun with him, he's so awesome to play. I got to be unbiased. You know what I mean? I have to be not taking my opinions into account when I'm making these tier lists. So with that being said, Johnny is B, right? You guys all know I love Johnny. He's probably S class in terms of how much I enjoy playing him. But a lot of you guys were mad last time, and he is staying in B because He's very easy to beat. If you actually pay attention, most heroes are AoE heroes or they have abilities that cover an area and that nullifies Johnny completely, right? Then you have the fact that he only has one puddle. So you know exactly where he's going to be once he lands. All you have to do is kind of shoot and guess. Even a hero like Osas can spam his sniper and be able to hit the Johnny and be like, okay, there he is. A lot of heroes have marking abilities. Hunter completely counters Johnny's pool of invisibility. Hua Ling can use her ability to spot him. You have heroes that have AoE like Chemist and Labula, or even Sindri has a little bit of AoE on her little particles that she shoots. All these heroes counter Johnny, and even if they don't, he's super easy to find out because he only has one puddle. And he doesn't have any strengths. He jumps, it's obvious where he goes, then you can find him. His damage is horrid. You can't even one clip an Aletta. If you're sitting right on top of her, you get the bonus damage and headshots. Maybe you can one clip an Aletta. But even then, most of the time you don't. Most of the time you can't one clip an Aletta and she's got the least health in the game. It really sucks. His ultimate's awesome, right? It does an insane amount of damage. But all you have to do is walk out of it. Unless he places it right on top of you, you can walk out of it. Most heroes, you take Yaw, for example, or Aletta, any hero that has any sort of mobility, even if it's like really bad mobility, can get out of Johnny's ultimate. And the little turret thing, like it doesn't do anything. It's not enough damage. It's too easy to shoot down. For like a half second, you might get distracted and maybe the Johnny will get good damage on you, but he probably won't one clip you. It sucks. It really sucks. I think they missed their shot to make Johnny an A tier flanker. And honestly, B tier is not good, you guys. B tier in this tier list is like C. C in a normal tier list with all the heroes, that's where Johnny would be. But since it's just flankers, I have to go SABC because that's just where he is. It's not fun. It sucks. He's so easy to counter. I mean, the only upside is sometimes the bots don't notice when you're in the pool, or if you're in like bronze, maybe you'll get some good games in. But Johnny sucks, man. He's bad. I don't know why everybody thought he was so good in the first place. He's not going to receive a nerf because he's already bad. If you guys think I'm wrong, that's cool. But, I mean, even Atomic said that Johnny's easy to counter and he's not that much of a threat. So, who are you going to believe? Like, I said it before, and I'll say it again. Johnny's not that hard to counter. He's super easy. You just shoot in the general vicinity of his pool, and even if you don't hit him, he'll probably jump away just so he doesn't get hit. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. This is the one that a lot of people will get mad about, and I don't really see it, especially if you're not getting killed as a Johnny, you're getting lucky. Everybody knows how to counter Johnny if you just, take time to think about it. Be like, okay, well, he can only be right in that circle, and you have all the time in the world to kill him, and he can't do any damage against you. I would say, maybe if he got the jump on you with the turret and your low health, he can kill you. But there's so many caveats to his abilities and damage and ways that he has to have certain things go right just to get a kill. Just to get a kill. The only upside is if you're fighting in control or payload, you might not notice the Johnny and he'll be able to prolong that overtime, or if you've got two people on the point and they're fighting each other and there's a Johnny and the guy that is on the enemy team wins the 1v1, it won't take the point right away. And so he can kind of stall. And that's really the only thing he's good for. I'm sorry to say, that's as objective as it gets, really. Vincent is C tier, right? I know a lot of you guys are probably like, what? Like, Vincent can one shot any hero in the game, man. How are you saying that? First off, there's the arcade, right? This is a tier list made for the very average player who maybe has only played the game a week or two, and they're not really like, I want to spend $100 to get a hero that's not that good, because Vincent's not that good. I mean, you really have to put in time and effort to be good with Vincent, and I don't think it's worth it. Even if he wasn't in the arcade, I don't know why you'd pick Vincent unless you're a god with him. If you're really, really good with Vincent, all the power to you, right? The average player is not even going to have him. So right away, he shouldn't even be in the tier list, right? I could probably move him down here, and a lot of you guys won't even be mad, right? But, most people won't have him, and even if they do, he's not good. He's just not good. Most people are able to just look out for the Vincent. It only takes like a shot or two to kill him. His his abilities, he doesn't come out of them fast enough, and he's never going to get buffed because he's in the arcade. Here's the thing. I know a lot of you guys are like, wow, well, what if Vincent was good? I really want Vincent to be good, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, why would they buff him? He's in the arcade. No one's even they could buff him to ungodly heights. Nobody's going to buy him. Most people will actually complain because they see it as pay to win. They see it as unfair. And so Vincent he's never getting touched. He might get a small buff, but for the most part, anybody that has the money to buy Vincent is going to invest time into him. The only reason I even have him is because I'm a content creator. And yes, I did buy him. I spent $200 to unlock Vincent. I don't even have his passive. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I put in work to get him to a high level and make videos on him. And most people aren't going to want to even play him once they get him, if they even spend the money, which I hope they don't. You can see one or two people buy him, get good with him, and they're godly with him, and they play him all the time, right? That's like 1% of T3 players. Nobody's going to buy him. He's not good. He's not getting any buffs. I honestly I want an F tier, right? He should be an F tier because he's not accessible to the average player. And then on top of that, if they buy him, he's not that good. He's very hard to learn. So it sucks. I don't want him to be very good because then people will, get upset about the arcade. And I wish the arcade was better. I'm hoping they make some changes with Damon coming in and Lacia being in the arcade. Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed, because I really want to be able to be like, oh, Vincent's, B or C tier in a regular tier list for all the characters, but he's not accessible. And it really sucks because Lacia is going to be busted. And at the very least, she's S tier already. And she's going to be on the arcade, and a lot of people are upset about that. And that's why nobody plays Vincent. He's in the arcade. There's not really anything else to say. We are going to start off our higher tiers and go with the S tier. Shell's incredible. She's slept on for a lot of the lower tier player base, right? For your bronze and your silvers and stuff like that. The higher ranks know that she's insane. She's probably the hero you see Atomic play the most. And there's a reason why. She has invincibility. She can heal herself with her passive while she does shots, right? So you literally, when you do damage, you heal. So it's incentive to make those pushes. Her second active is not that good, but it's okay. It gives you that little bit of extra damage that can help you win a gunfight. And the more damage you do, the more the faster your tactical comes back that makes you vanish, right? So you can see how she'd be S tier, and then on top of that, she has one of the best ults in the game. You elevate the people that are in the vicinity of her second ultimate, and they have to look down. No one can really look down. Most of the time, you'll kill them before that. But let's say you have a Jabali. You elevate him, and he keeps his shield up. He's not going to be able to get out of it, and you can just literally stand underneath him and kill him, and he won't be able to do anything about it. He's too big. He can't move his shield around. Most people aren't going to even kill you if you stand in front of them and shoot them, unless they're already aiming at you when you elevate them. Because if they're aiming directly at your head and you elevate them, then their crosshair is above you, so they have to look down anyway. So you really won't get killed with it. And even if somebody does a lot of damage, you can just teleport out. She's insane. She doesn't really have any weaknesses. Like she doesn't do good against shields, but she's not supposed to. She's a flanker, and that's it. Like the only thing that you really have that you can use against Shell is evasion. If you're able to run away and she can't catch you, and far off damage, like that mid to long range where she can't hit you but you can hit her. I can see that helping, but you have to evade to do that anyway if you're already in close quarters. And her tactical is invincible, right? So Aletta, you can just track her and you kill her if you saw where she went. But with Shell, she's so good at just getting away from those situations and turning the tables on a conflict that you didn't think you could win. Um, I mean, look no further than Atomic. Like that's his main for a reason. That's who he plays for a reason. She's insane. She's almost unstoppable if she's played. If an S tier player plays an S tier hero, you're gonna win every time. There's a reason she's a solo carry for a lot of YouTubers, myself included. If I'm losing a game, there's only one other hero I'm picking besides Shell in the flankers that I'm like, okay, I gotta get this Gatlin. I've gotta get this Osas. There's only one other hero, and Shell is the other one. There's two total. Shell's one of them. She's S tier, and I don't feel like that's very controversial at all. Maybe some of you think she's A tier, but this is the average player tier list, right? That being said, average, right? That's the overall message, right? Play who you have fun with, and this tier list is for the average player. Those are the two messages in my videos for my tier list that I try to hammer home. And that's why we're going to put Aletta in A. Shell is an S and above Aletta because she's easier for the average player to pick up. Aletta is very, very difficult to play, right? She can be S tier if you spend a little bit of time. It's a lot easier to master her than it is Vincent, in my opinion, just because you have to actually get access to Vincent first. So most people aren't even going to want to invest time into him. But Aletta is one of those heroes you can get right away, who's very good. And I would say most players play her at a B to C level. And then you have those people that are in, Masters or Superstar, any of those tiers, who are just godly with Aletta, right? You have your PC players who can play Aletta to a T, so good that she's unstoppable. And the average player on a phone's just not touching an Aletta. If you're on a mobile device and you're sitting here with, your Gloria or whatever, and a really good PC Aletta player comes along, they're going to melt the whole team and carry the squad. That's just how it is. It kind of sucks, right? I mean, I wouldn't say it's the worst thing ever. She doesn't really need a nerf, right? The reason Aletta has not been nerfed is because she has such a high skill ceiling that it does not matter. It doesn't matter if you are in ranked and you're getting destroyed by an Aletta, because most Alettas aren't that good. Most Alettas can be countered. If you just stop and pay attention and be patient, you are going to be able to stop that Aletta. She has her rewind, which teleports her to a predictable place. You can almost guarantee that if you do damage on her and she gets to half health or lower, she's teleporting back. Her double jump sometimes leaves her exposed if you do it in the wrong situations, which you can just watch my videos. I do it all the time. And her first ultimate makes her invisible, but it doesn't really heal her. So she's not really going to, she might do some damage to you. But most of the time she's not going to be able to heal. So all you have to do is wait for her to reappear and start firing at her again. And most Aletta players, like I said, aren't that smart. The average Aletta player is at a B tier. The best Aletta players are at an S tier. So A is kind of that middle ground. I think that's fair. I think most people will pick up Aletta and she'll be at a B tier. If you try her out and you're good with her, A tier. If you're really going to invest time in her and she's your main flanker, S tier. So it averages out. The average player is maybe going to get to A tier, probably high B tier. And I think that she's in a really good spot as far as the average player goes. But that is where you get into the controversial, like, if you are a high tier player, she's godly. So that's kind of why I want to make the tier list for an average player because anybody can get a PC, spend a ton of time, waste their life away getting good at Aletta and be like, oh, Aletta's busted. But most people aren't that good with Aletta, and that's why she's an A tier. Um, I'm not really sure. That is the only thing I will say is I'm not sure how to balance her when it comes to this type of character who's busted for the high tier players, but the average player does not have good stats with her, does not do good with her. They're not a major threat. You don't see an average player carrying with Aletta. So if they nerf her for the hardcore players to not be as good, she's going to be even worse for the average player, and they're not going to pick her up. And then she's going to get way less playtime. So it's very very tricky because they can't buff her because she'll just be the most busted hero for everybody if you just take the time to learn her. But they can't nerf her because she will suck for the average player even more than she does now. So catch 22. She's probably the trickiest character to put on a tier list. And if you're like she's S or if you're saying she's B, like that's cool. That's the only one that I'm like, yeah, I think you can kind of move her around if you want to based on your opinions and how good you are with her, right? If you're saying, well, John's are gigs, man, you're so wrong. I play Shell and she's a C tier hero. I suck with Shell. The tier list is not for you, my guy. Like, this is for the average player to know who's going to be the easiest to master, who's going to be the hero that gives you the most value as an average player, somebody who just picks up the hero. And I'm not really taking into account like who is playing the hero except for the average player, right? Obviously, you can pick up Kazuma and destroy bronze lobbies with him and be like, Kazuma's S tier. That's not really how I do this. And I try to keep my opinions out of it because I really, really like Johnny. I really want Johnny to be S tier, but he's not. Um, we're going to keep going with the controversial picks, right? Aletta, how the hell do you have Aletta in A tier? That's because Biggie's an S tier, right? Fight me for it. First off, she's best girl. She's got a rockin' body. You can't even argue. And she's insanely, insanely underrated. She's underrated. The average player is going to pick up Diggy, and she will be far easier to learn than Aletta. All of her abilities are, you hit the button, something happens. You don't have to think about the abilities as much when you're a Diggy player. She's very easy for the average player to pick up, and the average player will probably get Diggy because she's hot. You guys have seen the skins. You know what I'm talking about. She's S tier best girl, and her abilities, right? If you think about it, are really good, especially considering her ultimate's like got a glitch right now, so it doesn't even work half the time. If they got that glitch under control, she's S tier for sure. You can say that because she has a glitch, she's A tier with Aletta, but honestly, with the ability working properly, if you get lucky enough to have it work properly, she's S tier. And I'm kind of going to tell you why, right? She's got insanely good close up damage. Um, Her reload speed is insane. So most people are like, oh, she only has 2 bullets, but hit, reload, hit, reload. That's kind of how fast it is. And, unless you're facing somebody with longer range, like a Shell or a Johnny or something, who has that long range, then you're not really going to get beat in the close range fights unless they have too much health or something like that, like a Jabali. But where Diggy really excels is her ability to run away and to be a nuisance. She heals with her shark form, which also gives her increased movement speed and is insanely hard to hit. I can't tell you how many times I have been, fighting like a Gloria or something, and she's shooting me from far away, and I turn into my shark form, and I just kind of go left, right, and the Gloria has no idea what to do. I mean, I've had times where I'll be fighting a Jabali and I'll shoot him behind his shield. He'll turn around, I'll shark form behind him, shoot him again. He'll turn around, I'll shark form behind him, shoot him again. And you can take out a Jabali as a Diggy, and I don't know. It's insane. The damage is crazy. The shark form has a crazy amount of mobility for what it does, and it heals you. And it heals you, right? You guys, we talk about Aletta and her ultimate, how it doesn't heal anymore. You talk about Shell, how what makes her so good, she can heal when she does damage. Diggy can heal while running away or while closing the gap. So you should almost always be at least half health as Diggy, and that's enough, especially against lower level players or average level players, to be able to turn the tide in a fight and to be able to take on these other heroes that maybe have an advantage over you. Um, Most OSAS players, bronze to silver, average tier players that have just picked up OSAS, they're not hitting that shark form if you're zigzagging. They're not hitting that shark form if you jump down from where you're at and you shark form down. Most people aren't going to hit you. Most people aren't going to be able to track you. You can close the gap really fast. And her ultimate is huge AoE wall moving, and it bounces people back and away from the point. It does pretty good damage, actually. And besides the glitch, it really can clear out a lot of people. It does a lot more damage than people think. I've had times where I can take out a full Jabali with that ultimate, and it will take out pretty much everybody on the point unless they have a healer. Uh, that is without mentioning her best ability. A lot of people will say, "Oh, it doesn't travel, it doesn't happen fast enough," right? And when you do the second active, it's not fast enough. It's super easy to interrupt. Well, you're not using it right if that's how you're using it. You should be using it to get height on somebody. You can use it where you are teleporting and they can't see where you're at right now. They won't know where you're at unless you're teleporting right in front of them. You can teleport behind somebody while you're behind a wall, right? And it's covering their vision, it's obscuring you, and you teleport to like a spot next to them. You don't even have to teleport directly behind them or super close to them. You can just teleport next to them, shark form over. And most people won't even know you're coming. I can't tell you how many times I've straight up just come around a corner. Oh, there's a Gatlin. And I teleport, land right next to her, come up and kill her. And she has no time to react. She's not good enough. Unless they're already looking at you when you teleport, you're getting away with it almost 100% of the time. They have to already be looking at you, and you have to be completely exposed from when you decide to teleport all the way to when it teleports you. And most people, if you're playing Diggy right, you can use it from the base and teleport out into the open. You can use it from cover and teleport out into the open. If you've got a tank, wait for them to drop their shield like a Fade drops his shield, then you teleport across the map. It's crazy good. It travels a super long distance. And honestly, she's super easy to learn compared to all of these heroes. I would say she has the lowest skill ceiling of all of these heroes. The only one, maybe Yaw, has a lower skill ceiling. It's pretty close, right? Obviously, Diggy, if you're just going to use the shark form and go straight, then somebody's going to kill you. But for the most part, she's very easy to learn. She's easy to pick up. She's got good damage. She's got good mobility. She's the only character straight up that can just teleport across the map, like straight up. You want to get up there? Well, just hit the teleport. Like that's how easy it is. And she's very slept on. Not to mention, she's pretty hot too. Like she's literally got some of the best skins in the game, and no one uses her. Most people are sleeping on her, so you can sneak up on somebody. You pick Diggy, most people are gonna be like, "Oh, all right, it's a Diggy, no big deal." And then you teleport onto them. They don't know what to do. They turn around. They try to, the Osas jumps in the air with his second active, and then you shark form over and wait for him to land. Like it's crazy how good Diggy is. She's slept on. Please, please, please play her. You will not regret it unless you're in like a high diamond and up. You're not going to get countered as Diggy. I can't tell you how many games I have just popped off as Diggy because nobody expects Diggies to be good. Most people are like, Diggy sucks. The teleport's easy to interrupt. The shark form is super obvious. And because your enemies underestimate you, you can then use her and make her S tier. She's so good. Please play her. Like, at least play her before you get mad, right? Please. She's super easy to learn. Easier, in fact, than Yaw. I don't know, right? You can kind of argue Yaw or Aletta. I don't think it matters too much. Um, you can switch them around. I'm not really upset if you do. I don't think it's that big of a deal. The ordering in tiers is not that important to me. I think if you're like, okay, you have to order the tiers no matter what, then you go like that. Because Ya is crazy, crazy good. She's slept on just as much as Diggy. And the only thing is she's a little harder to learn. She's kind of got that niche kit, and her first ultimate is it's good, but her second ultimate is so much better for survivability. I know that this first ultimate, right, it does so much damage, but her second ult will change the game. It's going to be so good. She's going to be S tier, but for now, she's just in A tier. Um, Apparently, you can shoot her feet. Not sure if that's true or not. I have never been killed when I'm using the shield, but apparently you can shoot her feet. So definitely, if you can shoot her feet, maybe she stays in the bottom. But the shield is incredible. You can literally reflect Sindri's ultimate. Oh, dude. Sindri's ultimate, you guys. One of the best healing ultimates for damage in the game, right? Most ultimates don't dish out the kind of damage that Sindri's does. And you can counter it with Yaw. I literally, my last video where I played Yaw, you saw the Sindri ult, and I almost died. I put up the shield, and it literally, she kills herself. Gatlin kills herself. Sindri kills herself. Gloria kills herself. Especially if you wait that half second to where they do a little damage, and then they're like fully committed, and you reflect it, they're dead. It doesn't matter who it is, they're dead unless they're a tank. And with the fact that you have heroes like Diggy or Gloria's shotgun that are really in your face, you can really capitalize on that where you dash through and it doesn't kill them, and you turn around and they're going to kill you, and you just pop that shield, boom, they're dead. I cannot tell you how many times I have done that. The shield turns the enemy's strength against themselves. The better your opponent is, the easier it is to kill them with the shield. Unless they have a manual fire hero and they're like, oh my god, she's going to use her shield, and they're aware of it, then maybe you don't die. Or maybe you don't kill them, I mean. But most people, if you use it while they're shooting, they don't have enough time to react, to stop shooting. And if it doesn't fully kill them, you use the shield, and then you just dash. Her primary weapon sucks. I'll give that to you guys, right? The headshot damage is decent. I think it's a good support weapon. The bread and butter is that shield and that dash, because the dash can be chained. Huge, 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 huge. The dash is really where it's at. The dash paired with the shield. If you use the shield to get them low, you dash and they're dead. And you get the dash back, right? Her dash, if you kill with it, you get it back. So if you have a team fight, you can literally just zigzag with the dash over and over. This guy's low, dash, he's dead. This guy's low, dash, he's dead. This guy's low, dash, he's dead. So those huge team fights where they're like really struggling to kill, the healer or the tank or something, you can dash in, boom, and there it is. You get them killed, and they're not a threat anymore. And she's probably the middle of the pack, right? You have 3 down, 3 up, and she's in the middle of the pack. I think she's probably, low A, high B in a full roster tier list, but she is slept on, you guys. I'm telling you, if you're anytime there's a Gatlin and you don't have Diggy and you have Yaw, doesn't even matter. She's instant Gatlin counter because Gatlins won't even notice. You can literally just walk up in front of wherever her fire path is, use the tactical, and by the time she stops shooting, she'll already be dead. Especially if she's using her second active. You somebody like Osas, let's say the Osas body shots you, right? And you're like, oh, he's going to follow up and try to get me killed. You reflect that shot back, get like one or two shots in with the pistol and dash in, and he's dead. Most people are not expecting the shield, which is crazy because it's like the best part of her kit. But trust me, the shield is really, really good. The dash is awesome to chain. And the ultimate, while I personally don't like it, right? I prefer the second one. The first ultimate is insane. It does so much damage, and especially if they're all grouped together, you're getting all that damage. I guarantee you're going to kill a healer. By the time you get that tank to half health, you've killed the healer. You can wipe teams with her first ultimate, and I'm going to recognize that, right? If I say I like the second ultimate, so she's down in B tier. I know that's not fair. I know a lot of people like the first ultimate better, so I will up her a tier because everybody likes that first ultimate, and you guys like the first ultimate. You like doing that damage, so it literally turns her into a DPS for a solid 8 to 10 seconds, however long her ultimate is. And if you're ever worried, just use the dash to get away. Use the shield to cover your escape. I can't tell you how many fights I've turned around where I have a DPS and a DPS. They're both going at it, and one of them's going to lose. And I either execute the enemy right before they can beat my buddy, or I pop that shield right in front of my buddy, and they're able to not take any of that damage. It's literally like a mini Jabali ult. Jabali's second ultimate. It's like a little mini Jabali ult, and it's so insane. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten kills with it that I was like, oh my god, if I was any other character there, I'm dead. Even Shell or Diggy, I'm dead. But because it reflects the damage back, it's so good for turning those fights and for really just getting that counterattack out. If you can use the shield to take out a damage and then the dash to kill a healer, you can turn a team fight without even firing your main weapon. And I think that's very overlooked, especially with how good all the flankers are. I think Yaw is very overlooked, and I think you guys really should play Diggy, play Yaw, I promise. And for Johnny, just shoot the puddle. I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, there's no way I'm putting Johnny over Yaw. No way. If you want to put Cosma over Johnny, I'm cool with that. I think that this tier list is very controversial for a lot of people because flankers are the heroes that most people are like, I'm a ride or die Shell main. I'm a ride or die Johnny main. And I think you forget how easy it is to counter certain heroes and how underutilized some heroes are. Flankers are easy to kill for a reason. There's a reason Diggy and Yaw have low health. And you have to take advantage of the fact that they are not seen as threats, so you can pop off with them because your opponents will underestimate you, and they're very easy to learn compared to Shell and Aletta. I think that's kind of why you see these two here are below the one that's better because they're easier to master. If you are like, wow, I have Shell and I suck with her, play Diggy real quick. Like straight up, play Yaw if you're not very good with Aletta because that can like bridge that gap and you might find a main. You might even see, oh, this is how I play Yaw. I've been playing Aletta wrong the whole time. I didn't realize that I should be teleporting at this time when I'm being a Shell main instead of, doing my shark form as Diggy. And I think it can really open your eyes. And even if it can't, if somebody picks Shell, pick Diggy. Just play whoever you have fun with, honestly. I really encourage you guys to try out all the flankers, all of everybody. If they're a free tryout hero, try them out, honestly, because there's a lot of heroes that are slept on. Cosmo's slept on, but he sucks. He really does suck. He's not as good as he used to be, especially with the bots and the abilities and the nerfs and the fact that most people are now looking up in general because of the devs are elevating all the maps and putting high places. So you naturally look up, especially with, an Osas sitting on a perch or an Osas jumping into the air. I think you're finding a lot more of the other heroes are now getting that verticality. So Cosm is going to be lower naturally. So you have somebody like, Diggy, Aletta with her double jump, or Yaw with her dash that can get up to that high ground and close that gap. They're going to naturally be higher. And for the average player, I just think it's easy. It's going to be easier for them to pick up somebody like Diggy or Shell or Yaw as opposed to Aletta. And that's why I have Aletta A. I know a lot of you guys are going to get mad. You're going to get mad about the Aletta, but I mean, she's still really good, you guys. She's crazy. But are you good with her? You know what I mean? Like, can you pick her up and do good? And I think that's where a lot of people fall short is, um, you know, just play a different hero. If you're not good with Aletta, don't play her. You know, if you're not good with John, you don't play him. Um, that's really all I have to say. Hopefully, you guys don't flame me too hard for this tier list. Uh, just remember, right? I told you, Shell's the best, right? I did this with Neon. Um, I did it with Johnny. Most of my tier lists are generally pretty accurate. Once they get that Diggy, glitch fixed, she'll be a lot better. Once Yaw gets her second ultimate, she'll be a lot better. So I think that you just got to play the hero. Please play the hero before you freak out about where I placed them, because Aletta's pretty difficult to learn. I think you're gonna. I am still not very good with her, and uh, you know that's pretty much it. Really excited, you guys. We got more damage dealers coming to T3 and Super Season 3, and I'm gonna be uploading a video for Damon versus Lacia and like comparing them and stuff like that. So I'm definitely gonna give my thoughts on the arcade. So please, please, please be checking that out. Right? I'm not. It's not going to be as controversial as this. Obviously, everybody wants Aletta to be S tier and Johnny to be A tier, that kind of thing. But hopefully, this will make you not so mad at me. Right? I understand Kazuma's not as good as he used to be, and he just needs a little love. You know what I'm saying? He's not as good as he used to be. He was pretty much that high B tier, low A tier because nobody looked up. But now that they've given everybody just like crazy jumps and stuff, he's just not as good. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Let me know who your favorite character is, right? Do you like Diggy? Is she best girl? She's pretty hot. I'll give it to you. She's hot. But that's the video for you guys. We'll see you in the next one.